Welcome to the V1200 HD Dante audio setup tutorial. The V1200 HD is equipped with two expansion cards in the back of the unit that allows you to add additional I/O connectivity for both audio and video protocols and connections. The V1200 HD supports two expansion cards for audio that include Dante and REAC, and two expansion cards for video that include SDI and DVI. Installing the Xi Dante expansion card in the V1200 HD provides 16 inputs and 16 outputs at 48 kHz to and from your Dante equipped device. Let's look at how to set up the Xi Dante card in the V1200 HD. Step number 1, check the firmware version number for the V1200 HD. We need to make sure that it is a version number 1.32 or higher. Next, let's check the firmware of the V1200 HDR and make sure that it has version 1.32 or higher. Lastly, let's check the firmware version number of the Xi Dante card and make sure that it is at version 1.1 or higher. For the latest firmware and installation instructions for the updating of the V1200 devices and Xi Dante card, go to proav.roland.com/updates. Let's click on the audio structure and take a closer look on how we route the audio coming from our Dante device to the V1200 HD. Notice at the bottom left side I have the Expansion A, Expansion B options that correlate to my two expansion slots in the back of the V1200. The Xi Dante card is plugged in Expansion A, so we want to make sure this gate correlates to the Expansion A card. Now let's take a look at the patch bay. In the upper left corner I have the option of selecting my routing on input and then output. As you can see, I can patch and de-embed audio coming from SDI, HDMI, expansion ports, the delay module, or the mixer. Here's a great example of the Xi Dante workflow coming from an external Dante source like a mixing console into the Xi Dante card, using the patch bay to then output the 16 sources to either AES EBU out or SDI outs 1 through 4, or you can even go to the HDMI 1 and 2 out as stereo channels. On the outputs, I can patch and embed audio back into one of the SDI outputs, XLR HDMI ports in the back, or through the expansion cards, and in this case, I can send the mixed audio back to another Dante device. Here's a great example of de-embedding audio from the analog inputs in the back, or AES EBU, as well as SDI sources 7 through 10, or HDMI sources 1 through 4, patching those 16 sources to the Dante output, taking the Dante output and then sending it to your mixing console that you can then mix with other sources. Let's check to make sure the inputs and the output selections are correct, in through the expansion and out to the mixer. Good. Let's patch in 16 channels of audio from the Xi Dante card to the 16 channels in the V1200 HD mixer. As you can see, I'm just patching 1 to 1, 2 to 2, and so on. Using the Dante controller in your network, you will need to select the 16 channels of audio that you want to send to the Xi Dante card in the V1200 HD. Now we are all patched. In the audio mixer, you can see we have 16 channels of audio coming from our Xi Dante expansion card. Let's look at channel 1. As you can see, we have two aux sources, reverb send, delay, and EQ per channel. You can also link channels for stereo mixes. In the main output section, you have reverb, and you can choose from a hall or a room type, EQ, and mastering effects.